noon, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Gavin, are you all set?
I'm all set. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, take it away.
Perfect. Perfect. Good afternoon, guys, and happy Earth Day. I'm sorry that we can't meet out all at once in person, but I'll make this event as lifelike as possible for you guys. I'm here in Alexandria at the Ben Brennan Wet Pond. This is a stormwater management facility. And for folks who don't know exactly what that is basically a facility or a structure that is designed to take in stormwater from the surrounding area and treat that water prior to going into our creeks, lakes, and rivers. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about specifically today was how these things kind of work and what's the purpose of them. You guys likely have talked about water quality and the importance of making sure that what you're doing in your community is beneficial to local water quality. And so that's a lot of like what this pond is doing right now. So what's happening is like I said, from all around this area, there's water, rain, sleet, snow that falls as precipitation. It hits concrete, it hits the rooftops of buildings, it hits sidewalks, driveways, and that water ends up going into our local storm sewers. And then the storm sewers actually allow that water to go into something like this prior to going into our creeks, streams, and ultimately the Chesapeake Bay. And the value of that is really in the biological processes that happen when the water comes to a structure or a facility like this. And so there was the woman who spoke before, you guys were watching the video, had said something that really resonates with me, is that life finds a way. And that's really what's going on here from a biological and a chemical perspective. So in the process of living our normal lives, most of us drive cars to work or take some form of transportation. Everything that we do as a society ends up kind of showing up on our streets, on our roadways, through just normal everyday practices. And then when it rains or snows or sleets, that water or whatever that water ends up hitting picks up the pollutants and then takes it to our local creeks and streams. And part of what my division does is we try and manage that water or that storm water prior to going to those creeks, lakes, and streams. And so you may see a facility or a building that has a designated green space or a designated pond that's very close to it. And what's likely happening is that water, after hitting the hard surfaces, is then transferred into something like this. And the benefit of something like this is really from two perspectives. It's treating water quality and it's providing habitat. So I was really hoping to kind of take a walk around here today and show some of you guys or see what we can find around here. And I was able to see some stuff, and I'm going to turn you guys around to try and get a good look at what we've got going on here. So right off the bat, we've got a Canada goose, and throughout different times of the year, you may see upwards of 100 to 200 of these guys. These ponds or these types of BMPs actually offer excellent intermigratory places for animals like the Canada goose who are traveling north and south throughout different times of the year. And so depending upon when you are here, you may see a whole bunch of them. And what they're actually doing is just using this place as a little resting ground to provide food and shelter for their young ones and themselves as they make their routes. We did have a few turtles on the banks. I'm wondering if we'll be able to kind of scare them out. But again, places like these are providing excellent habitat for a variety of different plants, animals, for them to basically utilize as habitat. And what that ends up doing is essentially providing two different beneficial factors. That's from treating the water, so you have plant life that is alongside the banks here, that's actually taking in the stormwater from off the site, and it's actually doing something called phytoremediation. And what that means is that it's basically just filtering out a lot of the pollutants that we can and cannot see before it goes to our local creeks and streams. What I wanted else to do is just kind of talk about the other BMPs that are on this site as well. So when this place was retrofitted and finished just last year, not only does the pond itself provide stormwater treatment, but the actual sidewalks do as well. And so these are what are called pervious pavers. So when water falls and hits these pavers, it actually goes inside and is able to infiltrate or seep through the ground here. And so that would be a lot better than having an area of land that is entirely covered by asphalt, entirely covered by sidewalk, or just regular concrete, where water cannot penetrate. It basically either sits or runs off to the point of lowest elevation. And that can often cause problems in cities like ours, like flooding and drainage issues. And so what I want really to drive home to you guys today is the importance of thinking about stormwater, and thinking about stormwater in the context of just where you live. And so depending upon where you guys are, whether you live in a really urban environment, the amount of stormwater that's leaving your site is directly affecting our local creeks and streams. And so my division is always thinking about if there's a new construction project happening, how are we treating that stormwater that's going to leave that site ultimately? And what we'd like to be able to do is basically treat everything prior to it going into our local creeks and streams. I'm going to take a walk around here, kind of give you guys my personal view as I walk through Ben Brendan. A really cool element about this BMP is the fact that there are floating wetlands here. And so what these wetlands will do is basically not only provide habitat for animals like turtles and Canada geese and other migratory birds that come through here, but it'll actually treat the water itself. Like I said, that term called phytoremediation, or basically at its most basic form, just plant filtering. So this wetland right here is actually floating. It's got water-loving plants or aquatic plants that are actually soaking in the water for hydration and their biological processes. And they're actually doing a really good job of filtering out the pollutants that come in from the surrounding area. So like these buildings over here would have stormwater that falls on their roof, falls on the adjacent sidewalks, and gets funneled into this area. And so this area is providing habitat, it's providing water quality treatment, and it's really providing a nice aesthetic place for people to walk and enjoy themselves. And so there are really a multitude of benefits when talking about or when working with stormwater management BMPs or best management practices. I think one of the most effective things that you guys can do just in your daily lives is being cognizant of the things that you do, whether you're in your park, on your driveway, in your yard. All of those things are going to end up having an effect on water quality. One of the most common effects on water quality that we can limit is really just picking up our dog waste. If you have a dog, please make sure that you're always picking up after them, because when they go to the bathroom and you're not going, if you're not going to pick it up, then that rain is going to come down, is going to take out the dog waste, and it's going to bring it to basically something that may or may not look like this. So it's really important, guys, to try and do your part just to improve local water quality. And it can be as simple as just making sure that you pick up after your dogs, making sure you pick up after yourselves, and making sure that you're not dumping anything that's not rainwater down the drain. So I wanted to kind of hopefully answer some questions if you guys have any. I'm going to check the chat here, see if we've got anything. Do have a question. Do rain gardens effectively remove debris and pollutants, and it seems to filter the water greatly? I have one in the backyard creek, and it seems to filter the water greatly. Rain gardens do effectively remove pollutants and debris. I mean, those are one of the approved practices that the city has to actually receive credits or to get a reduction in the money that a resident may have to pay into what is called our local stormwater fees. So to answer that as quickly as possible, yes, it is a really effective best management practice that is commonly used in single family residences or backyards. So yes, that is a great BMP, and it's a really cool method of treating pollutants. Yes. I'm going to turn around here and see if we can find anything else that's going on. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was the element of design here at the pond. So there are really 4 different classifications of vegetation or plant life here. And it can kind of be broken down as easily as this. 1, you've got shade trees, you've got ornamental trees, you've got shrubs, and you've got aquatic vegetation. All 4 of those types of vegetation play a pretty important element in the makeup of this site. So you've got shade trees for birds that come in and want to make nests and provide habitat for their young. You've got aquatic vegetation that's providing more habitat for birds and their young, turtles. You've got the ornamental trees, which play an important part in just the aesthetics of the landscape. And then you have the shrubs, which play an important part in reducing runoff to the actual BMP itself. And so in the little warmer times, these places offer really nice opportunities for birds and bees to basically just do their thing as pollinators. A lot of flowering plants down here that offer opportunity for these pollinators to kind of just do their thing, be prey items for the bigger birds that come through. And it's really just a great example of the multitude of benefits that you can get when you're thinking about stormwater management and just doing these practices. The Are the ornamental trees native ones or invasive ones? So I believe the ornamental trees are all native. Per the design of BMPs or stormwater management facilities in Virginia, they do have to be native. So they have to be native to the state of Virginia, and I believe that they are. I believe that one of the ornamentals, like right here, is a redbud. So that is a Virginia native, and that's a great question. The other question I saw was, are there still beavers at Ben Brendan? Personally, I've never seen beavers here, but it would not surprise me at all if they're still here. There's still good habitat for beavers, but personally, I have not seen them. I would love to, though. Actually, right here, we have 2 Canada geese and their goslings making their way across the pond. I don't know if you guys can see it. But again, a great example in this area providing excellent habitat for species that are pretty diverse. I mean, you've got anything from channel catfish to red-eared slider turtles to Canada geese to kingfishers. These ponds that are really just designed to take in stormwater from adjacent sites, they do a great job of providing habitat for these types of animals. And then in turn, this provides an excellent place for you guys to come with your families and enjoy a really cool site, kind of in the middle of a city. So I'm going to turn it around again, show you guys closer floating wetlands, see if we can get a better at the shallower end of this. What this is called is an aquatic bench. And so what this is providing, again, is an opportunity for water to come through, get filtered out. Whatever pollutants are in here get filtered out by the plant life. It offers fantastic habitat for reptiles such as red-eared sliders, snapping turtles, and common water snakes. Quite see him, but that's a really cool bird. That's a bird that will swoop down and actually catch fish. They're predatory, so they're not quite like the Canada geese, which are feeding on a lot of the vegetation that are part of this aquatic bench. But those kingfishers are actually taking species of fish out of this pond. Anything from smallmouth bass to channel catfish to really all different types of freshwater, warm freshwater species of fish that call places like this home. And so this is just a really fantastic area to just come out here, enjoy yourself, take a look at some of the elements that help us treat stormwater prior to going into our creeks, lakes, rivers, and streams. And if you guys have any more questions, I'd definitely be happy to answer. Another thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about is kind of how I got interested in this stuff. So I'm originally from rural Pennsylvania, and I grew up just being outside and seeing the different things that were in my area and just kind of asking questions and being curious about well, what's in that stream or what's under that log? And it got me really interested in water quality, ecology, and just general environmental stuff. And that was when I was at an age that are probably at the same age that a lot of you guys are too. I just really like to emphasize, really get out into your local parks or your local forested areas, or really anywhere that you can explore and start asking yourself some questions about what types of plants are out here, what types of animals exist here. Is this beneficial habitat for something that you may be interested in? It's really like, I really want to emphasize to you guys how important it is just to be a part of your local environment and to just go out and see and ask yourself questions. It was a huge basis of how I basically grew up. And it's a really, really interesting. Encourage you guys to be passionate about your local environment. So if you guys do have any questions.
Gavin, I don't see any questions just now. I'm looking in the Q&A to see if there are any more. Doesn't look like it. And we can definitely hear it's windy out there.
Yeah, it's a windy day. I apologize for that. I tried to plug in my earphones to try and limit that.
It helps.
Yeah, I'm glad that it does. But yeah, ideally it would have been a warm day and we would have been able to have all you guys out here in person, or at least in some capacity, and kind of just walk around the property or around the site and show you guys really everything cool there is to see here.
Well, we definitely appreciate the fact that you gave us the tour virtually. And,
of course.
Yeah, so that was terrific. Thank you so much, Gavin.
Of course.
Appreciate it. And we'll, I will, unless there's, like I say, I don't see any more questions. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll share a couple of the eco poems before the next session. Actually, we have the Eco Poetry Awards, and so we'll cover a couple of those poems before doing the awards. Gavin, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kurt. Happy Earth Day, everybody. And if you ever have questions, please feel free to either reach out through Kurt or reach out directly to me. I'd be happy to follow up with Kurt with my contact information. If you guys ever have questions or want to come out and see one of these cool sites, I'd be happy to show you.
Awesome. Happy Earth Day.
All right, guys. Happy Earth Day. Thank you.